Grenades at Windmills podcast.
Hi, I'm Rhombus. Welcome to the Tossing Grenades at Windmills podcast. Glad you came back. So today, I figure I'd tell you a little bit more of my anecdotes, since those seem to be kind of popular. I'll read the first one, and then do letters. So Rhombus, you live in a swamp. Well, no. I work in a swamp. I live in a bayou. I also work in some more swampy part of that bayou. But this is not a shack. It's a home in the 1940s style, originally built by speculation and the return of GIs and purchased shortly after the Hurricane Heimdall. Cheap. I felt that because TC and I share some similarities that I should outline the differences. I never had hang-ups with the human relations that plagued TC in his captive years in Wonderbread land, but that also means I have no resilience of spirit. I gave up after my first love. She was a lovely creature of the sea, and I met her in Miami. I return sometimes. Random relations are nice, but I'm the one given to and one and only love. What happened to her, you ask? There's a reason I hunt a bridge to other worlds, but that's another story. So what should I talk to you about? Well, what's in Miami? Interesting place, Miami. There are gateways to other places all over the place. Bridges are interesting symbols, and yeah, of course, bridges have trolls, but bridges have undersides where more people than just trolls live. Miami has quite the homeless problem you've probably heard of, and some of those homeless are more victimized than most. And it's harder to live under a bridge in your world than it is in mine. People aren't as cruel here, but then again, they don't have stories that let them be. They have to see the world a little bit more the way it actually is. And in Miami, that means that you got folks that don't have anywhere else to go, and the sun is shining, and buildings are there, so why not let them live in peace, as compared to, say, building yet another building where nobody can live because they can't afford to live there. Let's see here. So, where I'm from, Texas kind of comes in and out of the United States like a cat. They didn't do a treaty that said they could live or that they could break this state up into 5 smaller states. Instead, they said that they could come and go whenever they wanted. So, over the years, sometimes Texas has been a country, and sometimes it's been a state, and sometimes it's been a little bit in between, just like Puerto Rico. So I think a lot of that craziness that's coming from Jade Helm is actually tin-foiled thought waves moving across the realm from what's actually going on in our neck of the woods. Let's just say that we don't have the problem with drugs that you do, but sometimes we get sick of it and go into Texas and clean up. Of course, since Texas was a protectorate for 20 years, there were certain people that didn't change things up that way. Let's see here. Let's look at a letter. Dear Rhombus, what's your favorite movie? Glad you asked. That'd still be Star Wars. But in ours, Han really did always shoot first every single time. Dear Rhombus, what other podcasts do you like? Well, in my world, I like the Lick Anything You Want for Free podcast, and I'm also a big fan of the lost episodes of The Twilight Zone, but like I said, that's my world. And yours? Well, let's see here. I do like Welcome to Night Vale. I'm a big fan of Reckless Peril by Bernie Clark. Well, let's see here. This American Life has some pretty good stories in it, I guess. And that cereal thing, man, that was messed up, let me tell you. And no, it wasn't actually about cereal, but I was pleasantly surprised. Dear Rhombus, if you could have any superpower, what would it be? Well, this is going to sound hokey, but I would like to be super kind to people. CC always thought about crazy stuff like wish granting or teleportation, but really, I think kindness is the most important thing in the world. And yes, you have my permission to vomit. Dear Rhombus, why do you talk like that? Well, I talk like that because it annoys you. Dear Rhombus, do you have any projects coming in the future? Glad you asked. Funny thing about that Miami story I told you about. Since I kind of haunt Miami, I've kind of slowly gotten to learn a few things about it, and let's just say there's some really interesting stuff going on. Got a cat watching me right now because I think it knows that I know that it knows things that you want to know. We'll talk about that more later. Alright folks, if you want to write us a letter, just send one to redanvilcreative@gmail.com. In the meantime, have fun.
Shut up!
This has been Rhombus Ticks reading to you from the Tossing Grenades at Windmills podcast. All of these products are available on Amazon.com and other marketplaces. Copyright 2015 Red Anvil Amalgamated. Sound editing by Grayson Bergman. Initial bumper by Electro Rock Cardiogram.
To fight the forces of evil!